I can't believe I am doing this, I hissed, looking up and down the busy London street. This before stepping foot down the ominous-looking alleyway that God only knew where it led to. Bloody Faye! I hissed again, cursing my cousin, and using the only swear word me mum ever used, which meant it always came out sounding native to where she grew up, in Liverpool, northern England. As for myself, well, I was born and bred in the same house in Evergreen Falls that we lived in today, and I mean that in the literal sense, as I was actually born in my family home, at the bottom of the staircase to be exact. Evergreen Falls was about an hour away from Portland in Maine, and was also where my father was from, which meant my accent was a mixture of US and Northern English twang. Thanks, Mum and Dad, for that one. But, as for right now, what I was doing was chasing my cousin around London. It all started with a school trip she had begged me to go on, seeing as it was my last year of high school. Seniors like me could choose the trip, one encouraged for those that were thinking about studying abroad or traveling around Europe after college. But the main aim of it was for the sophomores' history class, and for us. It was a chance for two cousins to spend some time together before I went off to college. Although, my parents were hoping I would choose the one close by that my Auntie Kaz had gone to, who was Faye's mother. It also had to be said that Faye was acting out of character. Faye was short for Faith, and was my cousin's middle name, one we called her far more than her first, which was Amelia. She was a girl who was normally the epitome of good behavior, and as far as I knew, hadn't broken a rule in her life, making me question what it was about this trip that had tipped her over the edge. Because it was when we were on the plane together and she had just woken me from a surprising new nightmare, something I suffered from on a nightly basis, that she confessed the truth. She had snuck out of a window and forged the consent form, meaning that her parents had no idea she was even on this trip. Of course, I had freaked out, despite it being a bit late by that point. But she assured me that she would call them when we arrived, so they didn't worry further. To say I was shocked would be the understatement of the year, seeing as it was a case of good girl gone rogue. But part of me could understand it. As let's just say that her father was a little overprotective and, well, a teenage girl who wanted a life outside of school and home was only going to be good for so long. Meaning, one Amelia Faith Draven had hit her limit. But as for right now, well, I had no clue what she was planning. But I had a bad feeling that it had to do with a boy she liked and potentially had met over the internet or something. Of course, I had heard horror stories of catfishing, so naturally I feared for her safety. Because, despite her love of history, I had a feeling that meeting with someone here was the real reason behind this trip. Which was why I had followed her from our hotel on the Strand and onto Fleet Street, having no clue of the time. I just knew it was dark, and here I was, finding myself playing detective spy on the streets of London. And why was I doing this? Because she was nearly 16, which made me the responsible 18-year-old and someone old enough to legally drink in this country. Hence why it was the right thing to do when she told me she was sneaking out of the Savoy Hotel. But, after her confession to me on the flight over here, I wasn't exactly surprised to find her parents turn up shortly after, as naturally they had freaked out. Now, I know what you're thinking, that my cousin sounded bad news, right? Wrong. She was actually what you would consider the geek of the family, and basically the smartest person I knew. Plus, for the record, like I said, she never did crazy shit like this. Which was why, when she begged me to come along and sign myself up for the trip, I now understood the one condition she had. Which was that I tell my parents last minute, so my mum and her sister, my awesome aunt and Amelia's mom, didn't have the chance to chat about it.